so here we go. So they want us to factor. This chapter is all about factoring. They'll pretty much the next exam we take, last exam we take other than the final, chapter 6 exam will say factor, and like the whole test, the whole test is factoring. So what does it mean to factor? What does that even mean, factor?
Find your region of the equation.
Unmultiply. Find out what was it before it was multiplied, right? It's reverse multiplying. Remember how we talked about that while we're going through chapter 5? I said, get this down well, because in chapter 6 we're going to go backwards. That's what chapter 6, this last chapter, is all about. It's backwards multiplying. This is where we're edging into intermediate algebra, really. Math 63. Because Math 63 will start with this chapter. They'll do it quick. I just taught 63, or I'm wrapping up 63 this semester. I did like 6.1, 6.2, 6.3 all in one day. I just went, rrr. You already know this. Here we go. Whap. And just whipped on through. So we're going slow right now because this is first time Math 61, so it'll fly over. So how do you do it? How do you take 3 terms and find out what it was before it was multiplied? 2 parentheses. Remember that? X is in the front. Yeah, it's always like that. And then how do you find like the numbers that go with them? Yeah, it's what multiplies to be the last one and adds to be the middle one. Exactly. Remember that? You're looking, and I would suggest a little diamond thing. It's kind of helpful. Grab the multiply number, write it right here. You're looking for stuff to multiply to be negative 6 and add to be plus 5. So we're looking for 2 numbers. We'll put them side by side in the diamond thing. That multiply to be negative 6 and add to be plus 5. That's how you always do. The last number is the multiply, the middle number is add. Why? Because that's what happens when you FOIL. Remember? You've done it many times. That's what happens. So we're just thinking that backwards now. So what are 2 numbers, here and here, that multiply to be 6? What times what is 6?
1. That's good, 1.
Well, how about 2 and 3?
2 and 3.
Or, what's the other option? 2 and 3 or 1 and 6?
1 and 6, yeah. 1
Now, how do you know which one it is? Because 2 times 3 is 6 and 1 times 6 is 6. How do you know which one it is?
Yeah, and when you
Yeah, try making the signs work. How would I have 2 and 3 add to be plus 5? What signs would they have to be?
minus
They'd have to both be plus to add to be plus 5, and that won't work. They won't multiply to be negative 6, will they? So it's not 2 and 3. We all good? Is that making sense? So then we say, forget the 2 and 3 plan. Let's go for the 1 and 6 plan. It's got to be 1 and 6. Now, if it is 1 and 6, how do the signs go? You always, let me give you this hint. The sign on the bottom one, the bottom number, always goes on the bigger. I'll say that 1,000,000 times, not 1,000,000. I'll say it maybe 50 times between now and when we're done with this course. Bottom bigger, bottom bigger, bottom bigger. Whatever there. See, I got 3 of them in already. Whatever's on the bottom goes on the bigger. So whatever sign, plus on the bottom, plus on the bigger. Good? Plus 6 minus 1 makes plus 5 on the bottom and multiplies to be negative 6, doesn't it? See how that makes both things work? So there we go. Right? Either order, you put plus 6 first and the minus 1, doesn't matter. We're done. If you check that, if you FOILed that out, it would go back. It would work. Good? All right. Okay, so let's try that one. So let me jump in and help. So we put the 2 parentheses. And what do we put on the left?
X.
X is on the left.
X is an X.
Right, we good? Because x squared is on the left. So x is on the left to make x squared on the left. So what do you think? So if we have x squared on the left, that means x is on the left. Notice we have y squared on the right. Don't worry about the 2. We'll get to the numbers in a minute. But just letters right now. We have y squared on the right. So guess what that means about the right of each parenthesis? Going to be y's. And now let's just focus on the numbers. You with me on that? So x squared on the left means x is on the left. Y squared on the right means y is on the right. Now can you do the numbers? Let me let you do that. You're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 2, add to be 3. You can do the little diamond thing. Multiply to be 2. Don't worry about the letters. We've already got the letters in place. So two numbers that multiply to be 2. What times what is 2?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. What sign? The sign in the bottom goes on the bigger. In fact, it goes on both. It's always true to say it goes on the bigger. It also goes on the smaller. In this case, it goes on both. Is that good? Am I going too quick? So those two numbers multiply to be 2. They add to be 3. There's been a plus 1, plus 2. Done. That 1 is optional. You don't have to put the 1 here because 1 times y is just y. You can just put y. That's fine. Either way. Good? All is well? Very good. If we checked it, if we foiled that out, it would go back. All right, they're going to get much harder. This is probably the hardest chapter for sure. So it wants me to factor. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to reorder that thing. It's just easier. So I'm going to reorder from highest power to lowest.
M squared.
So let's do that. Reorder. So yeah, highest power to lowest. Now, can you take it from there? Let's go ahead and factor it. Do the diamond, you 2 parentheses, m's in the front, do the diamond thing.
So the top is 11. 11 is plus. And 2 numbers. I think 6 and 2. 6 and 2.
I'm here.
Are we good there? So you can do the, we're looking for what multiple. It's always multiply for the back number, add for the middle. Getting the hang of that? It's always multiply back, add middle. So you're saying what two numbers multiply to be 11, add to be 12. So what two numbers multiply to be 11? What times what's 11?
1 times 11.
1 times 11. Both positive makes them add to be 12, huh? Good. So it's m plus 1. M plus 11. Or you could swap the order. The order doesn't matter. You can put the 11 first and the 1. We good? I'll move on. We all good with that? All right. So 2 parentheses. A's in the left. B's in the right. Right? Because we have a squared on the left. So A's in the left of each parenthesis. B squared on the right. B's in the right. Then we do our little diamond thing. So remember now, the back numbers multiply, huh? The back is multiply, the middle is add. The back is multiply, the middle is add. So multiply to be plus 10, add to be minus 7. We good so far? Everybody tracking with me? This is the pattern we follow every time on these. These are called trinomials, by the way. 3 termers, trinomials. Trinomials. So the back number multiply, the middle number. Why? Why? Because that's what happens when you FOIL. Remember when you FOIL? The back number comes from multiplying. The middle comes from those 2 middle-like terms. Added. Right? That's just what happens. We're just doing it backwards now. Right? So what are 2 numbers that multiply to be 10? What times what is 10? What times what's 10? Yeah, 5 times 2, and we'll get the signs right on. 5 times 2 or 1 times 10. Yeah, it's probably 5 times 2, huh? Now, what signs do you need? Remember how the signs always go? The sign on the bottom. The bottom is what tells you the signs. Don't worry about the top right now. First focus on the bottom if you're thinking about the signs. The sign on the bottom goes where?
And the big one.
Bottom bigger, BB. Bottom bigger. Always. So, and then maybe the other one also, but for sure, the bottom goes on the bigger. For sure, no exceptions. The bigger will take the bottom sign every time. So -5, and then what do I need on the 2 to make -7? Also negative, huh? So 2 negatives makes -7, and 2 negatives multiply to be positive. Perfect. -5, -2, or the other order, doesn't matter what order. We good? We rolling on these?
And that way they give you the minus.
I'm hoping you're rolling because I want to get into the next section But I don't want to go too fast and lose you because the next section uses this and more.
This is hard.
We good? All right. Now we've got to kind of put you. Did you finish last night's homework? Okay, we're taking out the GCF. We're going to do that and the new thing both in one. So from this point forward, what you want to think of when they say factor. Let me in fact write that out for you. Whenever you factor, first do the GCF if it's there. If it's there. So you want to look at these three terms before you go into the like two parenthesis thing. You want to first look at those three terms and ask yourself, is there something in common to all three? Like, is there a number or a letter that they all three have in common? What goes into all three of those?
5.
5. They all have 5. And what about the letters? X, right? You take the lowest power. So, and then you first do the GCF, one big parenthesis. Not the two parentheses right away. Just put the 5x in the front and do the one parenthesis. Then on the next step, you'll do the 2. Are you tracking with me? Now let me back up and say, why? Where'd this come from all of a sudden? Well, it's just because they have something in common. Look at the last problem, for example. Look at this last one we just did. Did they all have an A, for example? Did they all have an A?
No.
No, the last one did not have an A. So they don't have A in common. Do they all have a B?
No.
No, they don't all have a B because the front one has no B. Do they all have a number? No. The front one has, there's no number that goes into 1, 7, and 10, right? Other than 1. 1 goes into everything. So notice they didn't have a GCF, or I would have done it. Is everybody tracking with me? So really it's a pattern we always want to be in for factoring. And that is what pattern? Asking, is there something in common to all of them? If there is, you've got to do the one big parenthesis step first before you do the 2. So that's what I'm saying here. When you look here and you say, yeah, they all have 5x in common. Put it out. One big parenthesis is going to change what goes in here, and then we'll go to the 2 on the next line. It's 2 separate steps. So can you find out what goes in the one big parenthesis first off? So put in there what belongs, like last night's homework.
8x. 8x. Plus 7.
So 5x, so there's going to be 3 things in here, separated by plus signs. 5x times what will go back to 5x cubed?
X squared.
X squared, yeah. Remember, out front numbers multiply, powers add, right? So x1, invisible 1, and x2 add to be 3. And then what goes in the middle? 5x times what will go back to 40x squared?
8x.
Yeah, 5 times what is 40? 5 times 8. And then do we need an x? Yes, we do, because x1, x1
7.
will add to be x2. We good there? It's all making sense? And then 5x times what will go back to 35x? 7. What's that?
Number 14.
Is that number 14?
Yeah.
Is that exact question?
Not exact, but it threw me off. The second parentheses divided into 2, but it has the 2x on the outside.
Oh, okay. So now we look at this stuff and we break it with the diamond thing all the rest of the way, right? Which means we do what? We say multiply for the back number, add for the middle number, right? So what multiplies? So put x's in the front here.
The x's?
Yeah, do the diamond thing. What multiplies to be 7 adds to be 8. So you take the number at the back. That's your multiply number. And then your add number right there. Right? We good with that? We all good?
1 and 7.
So what multiplies to be 7 adds to be 8. Yeah, 7 and 1, huh? 7, what? They multiply. So what signs let the bottom goes on the bigger, right? Bottom bigger? Mm-hmm. Always? And in fact, they're both positive, aren't they? Because 1 times 7 multiplies to be 7 adds to be 8. There we go. Plus 1, plus 7. We are done. That makes sense then. Yeah, it's part of the final answer. The whole thing is the answer. Good question. Yeah, so that 5x we took out the GCF on step 1 ends up being part of the final answer.
When I did the homework, I put the big parentheses and said it wasn't in the right format. So that's the right format, the one.
This final entry, yeah. Yeah, so it's 2 steps. We had to take out what's in common, one big parenthesis, and then do the 2 parentheses from there. These multiply to be 7, add to be 8.
That's the final answer.
So it's putting both things together.
Would it be wrong if you push the 7 and the 1?
No, no, it's totally good. You could if you wrote 5x, x plus 7, x plus 1, that's fine too. Either one of those are good. Good? All right. All right, let's try that one now. See what you can do. Right, so we know we're going to do the 2 parentheses, x is in the front. You're looking for 2 numbers that multiply to be 57, add to be 2. Don't say the answer out loud. Let's give everybody a chance here. Yeah, so multiply plus 57, add plus 22. So I mean, take the 57, take the multiply number, and just start divide. Divide by 2, divide by 3, divide by 4, divide by 5. Just start dividing by things on your calculator. If you divide by 2, you'll get some decimals, so forget that. Divide by 3, 19, and you think, could that do it? Yeah.
Fine.
That's my pair, huh? Everybody see that? So you just, whenever you get some weird old number like 57, just start dividing. Divide by 2, divide by 3, divide by 4, divide by 5. And anytime you get a pair of numbers, give it a try. So 3 and 19, can they make, yeah, both positive. They make 22. They multiply to be 57. That's my pair. So, oh, I completely forgot. That's right, we're done. That's a good answer. But I should be in the habit and get you in the habit of asking, what's in common to all the terms? Nothing, it turns out. But it's good to be asking it every time. Right? Did they all have an X? No. Was there a number they all had? No. Okay, but it's good we look. You want to always look first for GCF. Ask what's in common to all the terms. If nothing, then go right to the 2 parentheses. If there is something, then take it out with the 1 big parenthesis before you go to the 2. Right? That flies. All right. What's the first question on every factoring problem? Yeah, do they have a GCF? Is there something in common to all of them?
No.
Do they all have an X? No. Is there a number that goes into all those? No, the front one doesn't have any number at all. I mean, a 1. So no, there's no GCF, so we're not doing the 1 big parenthesis. So jump right into the 2. And do the multiply, add. They multiply for the back number, add for the middle. Multiply, add, right? That's about the limits of my Spanish right there. All right, so yeah, so what two numbers multiply to be 24?
Minus 12 2 times.
2 times 12, yeah. Because that can make the 14. Now, what signs do they need? The bottom, bigger, both negative, in fact, right, to make negative 14? And the 2 negatives multiply to be positive. So there it is. X minus 2, x minus 12. We're done. Either order, you put 12 first and the 2. We good? It's okay? Getting the hang of the diamond thing? So the first question is, what's in common to all the terms? What goes into all those? 3 does, but what's the greatest common factor? 9. You want to get the biggest number that goes into them. Yeah, 3 does, but 9's the biggest. So use calculator if you're rusty on some of those times tables. It'll tell you, just divide, they're all divisible by 9, aren't they? They don't have a letter, though. They don't all have an X. So it's just the 9. So the first step is put the 9 and the 1 big parenthesis, not the 2 right away. And then the 2 will be on the next line, won't it? Right? You got to do the 1 big parenthesis first because the numbers are going to change. It'll change the numbers. Right? So take out what's in common, 1 big parenthesis. Are we good? So it's going to be x squared plus 3x minus 10, right? Because if you were to multiply that, it would go back. Good so far? With the GCF? Everybody okay with the first step? Now, we're going to put x's in the front. Do the diamond thing. What multiplies to be minus 10 adds to be plus 3. So what times what's 10?
2 times 5.
5 and 2. Now how do the signs go? Who tells you about the signs? The bottom. Bottom bigger, right? So the bottom sign is plus. The bigger's got to be plus. Plus 5 minus 2 makes plus 3. They multiply to be negative 10. That's it. Plus 5 minus. You could swap the order, but wherever the 2 is, he's got to be the negative one, and the 5's got to be the positive. Right? I'll say, or you could do this. Either one is good. The order doesn't matter, but the signs do. Right? We all good? Getting the hang of this? All right. Okay, so it's 2 parentheses. X is in the front. We're saying what multiplies to be 168 adds to be minus 17. So do the diamond. Multiplies to be 168 adds to be minus 17. See, I always put the multiply on the top of the diamond. All right, so anyway, take your calculator. 168 divided by 2 would be 84. Can 2 and 84 somehow make minus 17? No way. No way at all. So now divide by 3. What's that? 50 would be 56. 3 and 56. No way they can make the minus 17. You tracking with me? I'm just seeing all these come from the 168, so they'll all make 168. But I'm checking if they can make the minus 17. It's not looking good. Let's keep going. Divide by 4 would be 42. Can they make minus 17? No way. Divide by 5, it's just some crazy decimal. Forget it. Divide by 6, it's going to be what, 28? Can 6 and 28? No. 6 and 28 subtract to be 22. So that's not going to work. Divide by... Does 7 go in?
No.
Yes.
Yeah?
7 and what? Oh, and that's it, huh? Oh, there it is.
No. I divided by 8 and give me 21.
Don't do that. 7 and 24. Everybody see now we got a winner there at the end? Ding, ding, ding. We got a winner.
Minus 7. So give me the number I need. 7 and 24.
Yeah. So how do we do the sign? The bottom bigger, right? Bottom bigger. You tracking with me? So the bottom is negative, the bigger is negative, the other is positive. Plus 7 minus 24. Check your calculator. That'll make minus 17, and they'll multiply to be minus 168. I thought maybe that one wasn't going to factor. Some of these don't factor. Like there's just no possibility. I thought maybe that was going to be one, but no, it worked. We doing okay? How we doing?
In the homework, they appear, like say, they are a prime number.
Right, prime factor.
Factor.
Yeah, it's a prime trinomial. I'll show you.
They don't factor, right?
Yeah, we'll get to one in a minute, and I'll show you. Yeah. Everybody good with that one? See how when we have weird numbers, see what we do? Just take your calculator, divide by 2, 3, 4, 5. Just keep going. Every time asking yourself, can they make the 17? Because they all come from the 168. Of course they can do the 168. They're coming from 168, right? Question is, can they also make the 17? 2 and 84, by adding or subtracting, are never going to make 17. 3 and 56, 4 and 42. Finally get it at 7 and 24. Can make the 17. Huh? Is that making sense? Okay, try that one. There we go. Factor that. What is it? What goes in all of them? 3 and y. Yeah, they have a y in common also. I didn't notice that. They don't have an x. They don't all have an x. The back doesn't have an x. But 3 and y. Good job. Yeah, you've got to get all that's in common or it'll mess you up. And remember, you do one big parenthesis first, and then the next line you do the 2, right? All right, so take out the 3y, and then 3y, there's going to be 3 things in here, huh? 3y times what will go back to 3x squared y. x squared. And 3y times what? We'll go back to 36xy. 12x. Yeah, that's right. 12x, huh? And then 3y times what? We'll go back to minus 69y. Use your calculator. Just divide by 3. Yeah, you'll get minus 23, huh? Now, if you try to go further, you'll be at a dead-end street. It doesn't go any further, huh? If you say what multiplies to be this guy and adds to be that guy, and you do the diamond thing, and you say, oops, you say what oh, come on. My little pencil's having trouble. So what multiplies to be minus 23, adds to be plus 12. What times what's 23? There's only one thing. 1 times 23. I mean, there's nothing else that multiplies to be 23, and that doesn't make 12. So we're done right here. Now, I don't want you to be confused. You might think, wait, Mr. Is that one of those you talked about? No. We did a step, didn't we? We took something out.
We bring it down.
So that's the final answer. We don't say prime or not factorable. That is the answer. We did some factoring. Let me show you what I mean. See back here?
That's how far we can go?
Yeah, that's as far as we can go. That's the answer. See how they have this option here? The polynomial is prime. Prime means not even one step was taken. We took a step.
Oh.
We took a step. We just didn't take any more. Well, this is our answer. This is a fine answer. You only answer prime if you can't even do one step. We did a step. That's our answer. That right there is our answer. It just doesn't go another step. But that's fine. Does that make sense? Just get rid of this. It doesn't go any further. We're done. That's our answer. Good? So that prime thing, you only say prime. Oops, you only say prime. Prime means you couldn't even do one step. It says step. If you did a step, then that's your answer. All right, try that one. So first step, what's in common to all three terms? Do they all have an x? No, that last one doesn't have an x. They all have a y? No, front one doesn't have a y. Is there a number they all have? No, the front one doesn't, just has 1. So no, there's no GCF. So we go right on to the 2 parentheses, huh? X is in the front, y is in the back, because we have y squared in the back. And so what multiplies to be 28, adds to be 11, multiply to be plus 28, adds to be plus, what two numbers, what times what's 28? Yeah, use your calculator, 4 and 7, both positive, everything's positive here. Plus 4y, plus 11y, we're done. Good? Easy? Oh, what am I doing? Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to go a little hasty. There we go. 4 and 7, right? Because that adds to be 11 in the middle, multiplies to be 28. Thanks, I was messing up. Good? So take out x squared. Right, when they all have a letter in common, you take out the lowest one. Is that making sense? So when they all have the same x, you take out the lowest one, x squared, because that's what they have in common. So then what goes on the inside? Whatever works, x squared times x squared times minus 10x, x squared times minus 24. Now you go to the 2 parentheses. So we're doing the diamond. What multiplies to be 24 adds to be minus 10. So what multiplies to be minus 24 adds to be minus 10. What times what's 24? A lot of things, like 6 times 4. Yeah, how about 6 times 4? So what signs would they need? Remember, who determines the signs? Matthew, who makes the signs for us? The bottom. The bottom tells us the signs. So what signs do we need on 6 and 4 to make minus 10? Both negative, huh? Yeah. Minus 6 and minus 4 would make minus 10. But that doesn't work for the top. 2 negatives don't multiply to be negative 24. So 6 and 4 almost work, but not quite the signs. So it's not 6 and 4. Well, then what else multiplies to be 24 other than 6 and 4?
2 times 12.
2 times 12, 3 times 8, lots of things. It's 2 and 12 that are going to work, huh?
Yeah.
So the sign on the bottom goes
To the big one.
on the bigger. Plus 2 minus 12 makes the minus 10 on the bottom, and then those multiply, one positive, one negative, to be negative 24. There it is. X plus 2, x minus 12. We good? We rolling on this thing? It's all making sense?
And that's it.
I'm racing forward to the harder ones. Hope you're good. I don't want to go too fast. So, first step, these three. What number goes into 2, 8, and 42?
The two.
2. 2 goes into all of them, huh? And then we do the letters. Do they all have an X?
Yes.
They all have an X, so you take out the lowest one you see, which is just this regular X right there. And do they all have a Y?
Yes.
Then you take out the lowest one you see. What's the lowest one you see? Just this regular Y right there. One big parenthesis, huh? So the next line, we're going to do the 2 parentheses, but first we do the 1 big parenthesis. And we say, all right, what works? 2xy times what, and what will go back. So first I have 2xy times what goes back to 2x cubed y. X squared, because the 1 and the 2 will add to be the 3. We good with this? This was last night's homework, doing this GCF step. Did you master last night's homework? So that's what it always takes in math. At every step, you can't drop the ball because it always builds. One step left out and the building will crumble. We don't want that to happen. So, you good with that? So when these multiply, those powers add, don't they? That was last night's homework. Good? And then the middle one, what happens there? Minus 4, because 2 times 4 is 8. And what do we need on x and y? xy, huh? Because a 1 power adds the 1 power to make 2 and 2, huh? Remember, out front numbers multiply, powers add, don't they? Minus, and then 2 times what makes 42? 21 y squared. Yeah, no x there because it would go to too high of a power. We good there? Is that making sense? All right, now, how do we go further? Yeah, so now we do the diamond thing. So we're saying, what's going to multiply to be this back number, multiply to be minus 21, and add to be minus 4. So what's 21? 7 times 3 makes 21, right? And so now where do the signs come from? What tells us the signs? The bottom. So the bottom goes in the bigger, huh? Minus 7 plus 3 makes minus 4. They multiply to be negative 21. So there it is. X is in the front. Y is in the back because we have y squared in the back, don't we? And so that's going to be minus 7 plus 3. We good? Is all well? Is that wonderful? How many got it? Okay, so about half of you. Questions I can answer. It's going to get way harder. So please ask. Shelby and I are here. We're glad to help. It's going to get harder than this. The next section. Yeah, we're about to go there. We have 2 more and then we'll go there. Yeah. So I'm telling you, ask us if you don't know what's going on. This one now is kind of a special deal. Let me give you a special deal instruction on this one. So when there's a minus in the front, minus sign in the front, GCF is negative 1. Do 1 big parentheses. Is that making sense? You don't want to leave that minus on the front. Why? It just makes signs hard and things weird. So just get it out of there by taking out a GCF of negative 1. We'll do this a lot. This will be important. Any little detail you miss at this point is going to cause big problems when things get hard. Are you tracking with me? We good? GCF's -1. So whenever there's a minus in the front, take out a -1. So I'm going to take out a -1, do the 1 big parenthesis, and then the next line I'll do the 2. When do you do that?
When it starts with a negative.
When it starts with a minus sign. Exactly. Okay, so what's going to go on the inside? -1 times what will be minus x squared? Yeah, regular x squared, right? Take it from there. Go ahead and get the... So, -1 times what makes the middle? Negative times
24.
negative 24 makes positive 24. And negative times positive 95 goes back to negative 95. You with me? It basically changes all the signs on the inside, doesn't it?
Yep.
So when you take out a GCF, all signs inside switch, don't they? Everybody tracking with me? When you have a negative in the front, all the signs inside switch. All right. Here we go now. How do we finish it from here?
We divide.
Now we say what multiplies to be 95. Put x's in the front. Do the diamond thing. Multiplies to be 95. Adds to be minus 24. Yeah, use your calculator. Let me give you a second. Use your calculator. Take what number do you take? Take that number in the top, the 95. Come up here. Take that 95 and go 95 divide. Start with 2. Divide by 2. That won't work at all. Divide by 3. That doesn't work at all. Divide by 4. That doesn't work at all. Divide by 5 and you get 5 and 19.
So the only problem with that is if I have a positive 5 and a negative 19, that will give me a positive 95.
Shelby's always right.
So it's a negative.
So here we go. 5 and 19. We good? So how do the signs go? This is a tricky one. Are y'all feeling sharp?
Get in.
I think even the great Manuel was tricked a little bit. Are we up for this one?
Right now.
You ready? Bottom. Bigger. Right? Bigger. Minus 19. But how do they make minus 24? Both negative. Both negative. And two negatives multiply to be positive 95, don't they? So there it is. Minus 5, minus 19. And now minus 1 in the front is part of the answer. It must be there. Anytime we take out a GCF, that's included in the answer. All right, so is everybody getting the moral of that story? When do you do this whole thing we just did?
When we see the beginning.
When the front term is negative. When the front term is negative, we have to take out a GCF -1 and all the signs change. So when the front term is negative, take out a -1 GCF and all the signs change, then you just go regular from there. You have to do the one big parenthesis and all the signs change. You good? Right, one more. The tougher one. Here we go. First step on every factoring problem. Check on your neighbor's paper. No. Sorry, just seeing if I'm talking to anybody. Is anybody hearing my voice? What's in common to all the terms, right? What's in common to all the terms? X, exactly. They all have an X, don't they? So you take it out, then you put it inside whatever works. No, I'm just kidding. Just letting that fly, yeah. All right, so X times X squared, Y squared, because that one power adds to the 2. Next, X times XY, because the one powers add to be X squared. Next, minus 72, because that'll go back to minus 72X. Good so far? So that's the first step. That's the GCF one big parenthesis step. Next, now leave this here. And that whatever comes out, the GCF is always part of the final answer. Now do the two parentheses. And we're saying, okay, front times front to be x squared, y squared. What's going to do that?
XY.
XY. We good? Because the 1 power, 1 power, 1 power, 1 power go back to be 2, 2, won't it? Both on the left. Everybody seeing that? So it's not like some of those other ones where we had y squared on the right, so we put y's in the right. We have everything's on the left. X squared, y squared, so that's xy, because they'll multiply it, powers add, to be x squared, y squared, right? Good for the letters. Now I'm going to do the numbers. Is that making sense? Everybody see the difference? Let me go back. See how, like this one. See how y squared was on the right? So I put the y's on the right. Because y1 and y1 would make y squared on the right. See the difference? Now everything's on the left. So it goes on the left and the left. Okay, now for the numbers. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply. Let me put it here. They multiply to be the back number. They add to be the middle. Now, I don't see a number in the middle. What number's really there?
1.
Invisible 1, huh? So they multiply to be negative 72. They add to be plus 1 in the middle, don't they?
Yeah.
All right, so now if you're looking at 72 and you're a little rusty on your times tables, then you take 72 and you just start dividing by things on your calculator. 72 divided by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Divide by 2, you'll get 36. And every time you get an answer, you ask yourself, can they add? Because we know they can make the 72. They're coming from the 72. But can they make the 1? Can 2 and 36 add? No, they'd add to be 38. Can they subtract? No, they'd subtract to be 34. They're not even in the ballpark of 1. So no way. Divide by 3, what's that, 24? Can 3 and 24 make 1? No way. Divide by 4, 18. Can 4 and 18 make 1? No way. 5 doesn't even work. It's a decimal. 6 is 12. Can 6 and 12 make 1? No way. 5 by 7 doesn't even work. Divide by 8, 8 and 9. Remember times tables? 9 times 8, 72. So there it is, 9 and 8. How do the signs go? Sign on the bottom. Bottom goes where? Bigger. Plus 9 minus 8. That makes plus 1, and they multiply to be negative 72. Plus 9 minus 8. Either order. There we go. The whole thing's the answer, including the x in the front. Is that good? Are we good there? Questions I can answer? We ready to go?